Mhm. Hi everybody and welcome to our webinar. I'm just going to give a few minutes to all of those that registered to hop onto our webinar and join in. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them.
Did you see the numbers for our webinar event? Like, what's it, Lee from marketing? She's like, yeah, Dino, you and Krista got like 130 registered. It's quite a bit. Usually I get like 25 people every now and again. So this is your first webinar and you already got like 130 plus, even more. That's impressive.
I know, now you're famous, Dino, because
No.
I'm doing the webinar with you.
It's not about fame. It's so much fun doing this now with another co-host. But yeah, I think that should be enough time to let everybody in. Shall we begin?
Okay, cool. Let's jump right in. Okay, so hi everybody and welcome again to our webinar. Today we're going to be talking about BIM Collaborate Pro and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So as mentioned before, we're going to be speaking powerful AEC collaboration. So my name is Carista and I'm joined by my colleague Dino.
Hello.
And remember guys, here at Modena, we're all about helping you deliver better projects.
Let's jump into some items before we start. Please make sure that you keep your mics mute so we don't have any background noise during this webinar event. If you have any questions, there will be a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. So please write down your questions so you don't forget. This session will be recorded and emailed to those who were registered. And on top of that, if you do not get the email, you can always come to our webpage within YouTube to go watch the latest webinars, podcasts, and feature events all around the Autodesk products. Remember, here at Modena, we are the Platinum Partners.
Yeah, that's correct, Dino. And also just a reminder, please don't forget to drop your questions into the chat box and we'll get to them at the end.
Perfect. All right.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Okay, so hi again everyone. My name is Carista Robert and I'm an AEC, I'm an application engineer in the AEC department here at Modena from the architectural side.
Hi guys, I'm sure you remember me. You've seen me on so many web events. So again, my name is Dino Karpic. I am from the infrastructure side of Modena. I deal with the MEP applications side. And today with Carista, we will be doing a collaboration PowerPoint presentation on the Autodesk Construction Cloud items. So there is a few content to go through, Carista.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so today we're going to chat a bit about the Common Data Environment, also known as CDE, for those that are familiar with it. We'll also be looking at collaboration with Revit and the Autodesk Construction Cloud, ACC, as well as coordination in the cloud. So jumping right into the Common Data Environment, this is our single source of truth.
So when it comes to the common data environment, we always refer to this notion of the single source of truth. Now, I'm going to be quite frank with all of you here today. You can't handle the single source of truth because of what it's capable of achieving. Now, for a lot of you, it is a new concept, but bear with us, it is a real thing. So let's actually jump straight into it. Krista, what is the CDE?
Okay, let me spell out the secrets, guys. So, the Common Data Environment, the CDE, is the single source of information that's used to collect, manage, and share documentation. It's essentially a graphical model and non-graphical data for the entire project team. It's essentially a digital hub where a whole bunch of information comes together. It also extends beyond just BIM data and information. It can include anything from project contracts, schedules, change orders, and much more. It also involves information created during a project, and it's made available to everyone who is given permission from the project inception right through to the end of the project and beyond.
So when we're talking about the common data environment, it's good to remember that there is still a traditional workflow that is taking place in our environment of AEC. The idea that every consultant, engineer, designer, contractor, and even client are utilizing different FTP sites, cloud storage areas, drawing platforms, authoring tools, and communication systems. It creates a mess of spaghetti or spiderweb effects where information that you're accessing might not be the latest and greatest items. You could be working with revision 5 where somebody in the project team is working with, let's say, version 12. And that is a scary notion to go through. But with a common data environment, we're here to alleviate those frustrations and stresses. The idea that everybody works on one single data environment that allows us to collaborate, communicate, and coordinate our ideas, our designs, and our workflows between different users within the project, regardless if they're a designer, contractor, client, or even QA/QC. So what does that technically look like? Well, I'm sure Krista can break this down for us.
Yes, of course, Dino. So let's jump into a bit of a story time, okay? We're going to look at Krista, the architect. Now, she needs to share her Revit model with an engineer. Her office makes use of Autodesk docs. Now we've got our engineer, Dino, over here. That's a nice picture of you, Dino.
I know, right?
Okay, so yeah, Dino the engineer also uses Autodesk docs, and he can collaborate with Krista on the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, we must remember that both of these, the architect and the engineer, are both looking at the single source of truth. Okay, so let's jump right in here. On my screen right now, I'm going to access my model on the BIM 360 platform. Now, you can see this is my profile, so let's navigate to my folders. Okay, let's see. Here's my model right there. Now, I'm just going to change this to a thumbnail. We're going to see a bit of a preview image, so I know that I'm just, working in the right project. Now, let's open this up on the online 3D viewer. Okay, this opens up pretty quickly. Now, this is really cool because I can zoom into my model. I can, orbit around my model. Let's see what's going on here. I can zoom in to see, sort of the different architectural elements that I have available here. Now, if I'm looking at my model and I want to check the units that have been used here, I can click on my ruler. Let's go measure a window. Okay, so we can see that that's in millimeters, and that's also in millimeters. So, okay, cool. I'm using the correct units here. So that's awesome. Now, if we zoom out,
so when we're zooming out or when we're utilizing this particular viewer, take note of a few things. One, this is on a web browser. We're not accessing this model via Revit. Because we are utilizing Revit, we can consolidate levels, categories, and get different perspectives on what we are envisioning within the project. And this is now between engineers, consultants, architects, and contractors. The idea is that we are allowing them to navigate, free flow, orbit, zoom in, zoom out, interact with the model. There are robust tools like sectioning tools that allow you to go through the model, whether it's on an X, Y, or Z plane. And then further to that, we have the ability to even select on objects. And if anybody has designed metadata on top of that, for example, this window, we can see its materials, its lengths, its sizes, what phasing it came through, especially within the Revit environment. And that is the pure joy of utilizing a common data environment. I'm not asking Karista, the architect, hi, can I please get access to your FTP site? And Karista is not emailing me access for my cloud storage items. So the idea is, again, our single source of truth is represented in our common data environment. So that brings us now to our next chapter, chapter 2, collaboration with Revit and ACC.
Okay, so, it's all about collaboration, guys. And this is why I find your lack of collaboration disturbing. So, if you guys can do me a favor, in the chat box, just share with me your current way of collaborating. Are you guys still printing out millions of drawings, taking them to site and marking them up in red pen? Do you remember those times, Dino?
Krista, that is quite disturbing. I can see why you chose this particular meme. So when it comes to collaboration, let's go back to our story. So remember, Carista the architect wants to share information, and she realizes that she needs to make further changes to her model. So her team uses Collaborate Pro. And then what happens is Dino the engineer will also use Collaborate Pro in the same essence to see any updates that occur from Carista's side. The idea again is we are still utilizing one platform to see all adjustments, all changes, and all variations, because at the end of the day, both of them see the single source of truth. So what does this look like? Let's jump back to Carista's side.
Okay, so now on my screen, I've got my BIM 360 profile open again. I'm just going to locate, my project through the folder structure. Now, if we see here, we see that this is a version 2, and if I click on that, we can see right there the name of the file as well as who uploaded it and the date and time. Okay, now if we close that up, let's go back to our model. We can orbit around a bit, but I really see something wrong with this model. Okay, now if I kind of zoom a bit more in, let's have a look at my windows. Now I can view the property of the specific window, as Dino mentioned earlier on, the metadata as you call it, right? But this window isn't actually supposed to be here. The client actually told me to remove it, and I did it. So how do I actually go about making this change to my model? What I'm going to do is open up my Revit, and once that's open, I can open up my BIM 360 platform through my Revit software. Now it's just going to take some time to load up, but this is my profile. So let's see here. Okay, let's find my project files. Let's go into the design team. Okay, the correct folder. Now let's open up this project in Revit itself. Okay, now when I click on this, this is essentially bringing all that data from the cloud, right, Dino, and opening up my model.
So it should be doing that. It's basically caching what is centralized in the cloud for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you are working in a collaborative or work sharing model. So take us through your process.
Sure, no problem. So now that my Revit's open, let's go ahead and delete that window before we get an angry client. And once we've, made that change, let's also just, copy this tree across, more shade, make it a nice outdoorsy vibe. Okay, now we've placed our tree. Now we've got to remember to go and save our changes by synchronizing our model. Okay, so now I'm just waiting for this to save up all the changes. So synchronizing means that I'm saving my changes that I've made on this model to reflect in the model that's in the cloud.
So wait, are you updating all the information to the cloud or just the changes?
So I'm just updating the changes I've made.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So let's take a look at how now the engineer would deal with such a change. Now, remember, the engineer himself is also working in collaboration. So what I do here is I go access BIM 360 or the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. And the idea is using my platform, I can go see where Carista has saved her models. I can see that the model has been updated, it's reflecting, and I can see when Carista has uploaded this specific model. There's a date and a timestamp according to her uploads. So with that, I go jump into my Revit with my Revit profile. I then access the NEP model. But the idea is I want to now see how much work and change I need to do. So when I access this model, it's now going to download or cache the file on my Revit software. It does take a bit of time depending on your internet connection, but here we go. And I can already see that there's a problem. I see a bunch of pipes, but there's no referencing information. So I don't know what I'm designing to. So utilizing the fact that we have something called a desktop connector, which interlinks our PC and the cloud, I can then access data that Carista has uploaded to BIM 360 or ACC. My desktop connector is a stepping stone between what I want to do in my Revit environment and what I want reflected from the cloud point. So instead of now downloading Carista's model and then linking it to my PC, I can actually link it directly. So take a look at this. I'm going to reopen up my Revit link. I'm going to allow the dialog box to appear once more. It does take a bit of time. I'm going to shift it to one side, go choose the model now, and you will see that the model itself will reference right on top of mine. Keep in mind, I can't change Carista's model. It's a mere reference. But it's a great reference because whatever changes on Carista's side, I simply have to refresh my model and I will see it. So if that window is missing, it will then change on my side. But here I'm going to go update my pipe works and start connecting my runs to the main line. On top of that, I'm going to do additional changes to this run, so connect pipe with another one. And you know what, this was a grueling 8 hours of work. It was so hard. So again, like Carista, I'm going to synchronize my data into the cloud, and the nice thing about this is it saves and it backs up the information. Whatever changes I make here, Carista and the other consulting team will be able to see these changes as well. And that is the pure joy about the collaboration process within the common data environment. We didn't go email each other different models. We are not searching for the latest information because we trust the common data environment always showcases it for us. So, things to note about collaboration. One, we can do this anywhere, anytime, with anyone. The idea here is we are utilizing the common data environment in order to extend work sharing to virtually anywhere. So if Carista is somewhere in KZN and I'm somewhere in Internet City, Dubai, the idea is we can still communicate and collaborate from one single source of truth. We are able to do this in a secure platform. And on top of that, I can't change what Carista has updated, and she can't change what I have updated. But the idea is we are collaborating and we can coordinate these changes together. And at the end of the day, we are connecting project teams with a centralized access to the BIM project data and at a no needed extra costly IT setup. Remember, Carista and Dino simply require a Revit and a BIM Collaborate Pro license. But on top of that, there is a little bit more. Carista, do you want to share with us?
Yes, of course. So, collaboration is the name of the game, but we also have to take security into account. So let's talk about the robust permissions that we can find on the BIM Collaborate Pro platform. So we can manage access for internal and external users on the platform. We can configure permissions that are specific to the user, the role, as well as the company. This essentially means that we have control over the work sharing and design deliverable exchange, knowing that the right information is in the right hands throughout the entire project lifecycle.
And in terms of communication, at this point of collaboration, how does that affect us as consultants, as designers, as engineers, even contractors?
Sure. So, if your concern is efficient team communication, you can make use of BIM Collaborate Pro to manage the design exchanges between your teams. You can track your milestones to ensure accountability throughout the team. You can also analyze 2D and 3D changes. So, in a nutshell, tracking your project activity, monitoring these changes, essentially leads to better management and collaboration, within your project and of your project, which is going to help you to basically so tracking your project activity, monitoring those changes, and managing collaboration between your teams will enable you to tailor a solution that best suits your project needs.
All right, that's pretty cool. So we now covered the common data environment and collaboration. I remember at the beginning here we also spoke about coordination.
Yes, that's correct, Dino. So we're going to dive right into coordination in the cloud. Sounds pretty cool, right?
It does. It really does.
Okay, so back to our little story here. So now Krista notices that there are some issues within the model. She uses Autodesk model coordination to communicate these issues. Dino will be able to see all these changes and issues that Krista assigns to him via Autodesk Docs. So let's have a look. Actually, before we have a look at that, we must remember that we're looking for the single source of truth. We're dealing with a single source of truth, right? Because we've got our model uploaded in the cloud.
And keep this in mind that between both users, they remembered the big 3 C words: communication, collaboration, and coordination, because we are coming from one common data environment. So let's take a look at what coordination looks like between two designers.
Yes, of course. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is run what we call a model check. So this is pretty much an automatic coordination that's going to help us anticipate problems before construction commences. Now, an example of this common type of problem would be when we've got, pipes going through ducts, for example. Now, this type of problem is usually detected in a manual sense through the use of 1,000 drawings that's been printed out with red pens marking all of it out. But by making use of this automatic coordination tool, we have a much better vantage point because we can find these problems and fix them before construction commences. So let's have a look at the screen now. I'm on my BIM 360 platform, and we can see that this is my profile right here. So these are all my clashes, that the system is showing me. So let's just jump right in and let's see what's going on with the model. So at first glance, looking at my model in a 2D frame, I can see my red floor, which is associated with my primary model, so everything that's primary, and everything green, we see this green line right here, that's our secondary model, so that's Dino's MEP model. Now, I can see that there's a problem here. There's some misalignment, so I've just dropped a pin to make Dino aware of these issues. So my system's just loading this up now, but I'm creating an issue. So let's be a bit more specific about this issue. Let's give this issue a title. Okay, we know, it has to do with the MEP model and it's not aligned. So let's just, write that down there. We know it's a coordination clash. Okay, now for a description, we've got to give our engineer enough information so he knows what the problem is. So, there's clearly a coordination issue here. So let's just let him know, okay, that it's not linked into our model. Okay, we've got an alignment issue, so let's just type that out and let's just ask him to please fix it for us. Okay, so please fix it. Perfect. Now if we scroll down, we can assign this issue to the engineer. There we go, there's Dino. Right. Okay, we also need to give him a deadline because if we don't give Dino a deadline, we're not sure what's going to happen. So he's got a deadline and a picture of the issue. Now, just looking at this model, we can see, through these schematic lines that his pipes are not aligned to our model. So we flagged the issue for him. Now let's just see what happens on his end.
Can't believe I missed the alignment of the model. This happens on more than one occasion. I've been on some projects where we don't have the correct items, but I'm glad that we can communicate via the same platform because the idea now is whatever Karista has flagged, I get a notification on my side. I then start my day where I make a cup of coffee, I go into the platform and I can see already the issue that has been presented to me. There's the title, there's the description, and there's a picture of that misalignment. If I click into the picture, I can then get a better understanding. And you know what? I can see my level lines are not as per yours. So I'm going to now write back to Karista. But before I write back, I remember that I need to get more information around this item. So looking at my activity log there, you'll see that I'm able to go understand who has done what within my model, or what I need to go fix when this issue was created, What do I need to update from my side? And on top of that, I can now go right back to Carista all this valid information. So since I've got all the information now, I'm able to continue with my workflow. The idea is I can write up a description, a comment, a message back to Carista notifying her that I will be updating all these available changes. Whatever update from my side will be present within the activity log as well. So whoever needs to flag or see the history of this particular issue, they can see it did take place within the system, and they don't have to go through email upon email just to look for a phrase, a sentence, a do word. The idea is we are tracking what we promised to deliver on the project. So when it comes to communication within the ACC environment, we are talking about issues, markups, and more. The idea is we can place and assign and track these anytime, anywhere. So remember, if Carista's in KZN and I'm in Dubai, the idea is we are still communicating, collaborating, and coordinating together. We can add private or shared markups with further comments towards these issues as well. We can create review workflows in order for us to run stage approvals from stage 1 to, let's say, stage 5 of a design between different consultants at different points in time. And of course, we can send transmittals of already available data on the platform from one user to another without going into another feature, another platform.
Yeah.
Everything happens again in the common data environment. So we keep your teams on the same page to ensure accountability with assignable version-aware issues and markups together with document controls. But there's more to this. Remember coordination.
Yeah, that's correct, Dino. So let's talk coordination. Let's talk about clash detection. So when the entire team is involved in clash detection and resolution, issues can be identified and solved without waiting for these coordination meetings. So we automatically detect these clashes when models are published and updated. We can also group these clashes by object. So, say we've got a whole bunch of MEP-related clashes, we can group it by that category. We can also create and assign coordination issues so that the correct consultant, knows exactly what to fix within the model. So we essentially involve the entire project team in clash detection and resolution with powerful automation. We group clashes and we group these coordination issues, which makes the management much easier.
Why is that?
So, Dino, the idea here is that we want to keep everybody on the same page, right? We want everybody to have access to the exact same information so that a project can run smoothly.
And again, when it comes to the common data environment, we have that ability. Remember, both Carista and myself can see this all because we are on the single source of truth. So Carista, if you had to sum this up into 3 specific words, what would that be?
Okay, so, that would be definitely collaboration, communication, as well as coordination. These are the same issues that resonate, with a lot of people that work on this platform.
And then when it comes to your business needs, we understand that they are changing. And if anything, we know that in today's world, we need to have this continuity within our projects, our teams, and our data. We need the ability to be clear with how we connect from one consultant to another. How do we design from one platform to another, and how we show those elements. And on top of that, we want to have clear visibility on all issues, all communications, and all coordination items throughout the project lifecycle. And that's not just from the designing phase, that's in handover, construction, facilities management, And we do have that ability with the Autodesk Construction Cloud. The idea here is when you are designing smarter and building faster, you are able to do this because you are connected, flexible, and powerful due to the processes and workflows that you are using. Remember, the key platform here is Autodesk Construction Cloud alongside Revit, and BIM Collaborate Pro helps you connect, be flexible, and be powerful in what you do. But that's enough from our side. It's now for a time for our Q&A session. Hello, hello. So I'm joined by two guests because I'm currently at LumaCon. You can say hi to Kitsola on my right, and of course Godfrey on my left. Let me just switch off my virtual background here. There we go.
Hi guys, I'm Kitsola. Hello, I'm Godfrey.
Krista, are you there?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I am.
All right, awesome. So we are going to leave this now open for the Q&A session. And I thought we might have a really cool change if we actually introduce our clientele with us to ask questions alongside us. So I see there's already two questions that come up. The first one is from Godfrey's side. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, nothing?
Nothing from your side. So while we're waiting for the questions to come through, if I may ask, how are you finding the Revit training that you're currently doing now?
Okay, so far so good because previously here by our company, LumaCon, we are still new into Revit. But so far so good, I must say. And then it saves time, and then the work is accurate as well. Because remember we're doing the HVAC system and the electrical.
That's true. Do you have anything for Karista? Question-wise from the AC environment.
That's correct. It's Krista, I heard you talking about collaboration. So I need to know how many people can collaborate in a project?
Hi, yes. So in terms of the number of people that can collaborate in the cloud, that would be unlimited as long as everybody kind of brings their own subscription with or has a user login. The amount is unlimited.
All right, perfect. And then if I may ask, Godfrey, what do you do here at LumaCon?
At LumaCon, we are a multidisciplinary electromechanical contractor with a national footprint. We offer full turnkey design, construction, and building management. We are driven by reliability, energy, and energy efficiency. I'm a draft person, and we do drafting for HVAC, electrical, and ITC.
And do you think you can somehow benefit from what we've showcased now on the ACC between yourself and Kitsola?
Yes, Revit is a powerful building information modeling, and we think that with this CVE or this 360 Autodesk will benefit a lot in terms of sharing information in a quicker way.
All right, perfect. I see we have a question online here. So from the user Rebekile, she says, how do I ensure my contractors keep up with the issues lagged, and can these items that aren't addressed be qualified on an Excel spreadsheet? So remember, the idea here is if you're flagging issues on the common data environment, it stays within that environment. So the moment you flag it against your contractor or against another designer, there's that full visibility of that issue between the project teams. So the contractor can see what you've raised, and you yourself can see what the contractor raised. This system does allow you to go out into PDF and Excel in case you want to run a reporting on many issues instead of the one itself. I see another user has asked a question, so maybe Krista can answer this one for us. How will you see Navisworks fit within this workflow? Is there still a future for Navisworks? Krista, do you want to answer it, or should I answer it?
I think you can take this one, Dino. You're a bit more experienced with Navisworks.
With Navisworks will not be phased out. It's actually, in my opinion, still a very powerful tool to use for coordination purposes. Think of the online model coordination tool as a spell check, and your Navisworks as more of a complete check for the project itself. Navisworks also comes in with an add-on that allows you to flag clash detection items that you found in Navisworks back into BIM 360. So you don't have to be separate from the system. You can actually talk back to the system and flag those same issues to different designers. All right, while we're still here, in terms of other questions, I've got,
question. How much data can be stored on the Autodesk docs, and how long does it stay on the system, on the database?
So Krista, do you know how much space we have on the Autodesk docs?
Okay, so it's unlimited storage on the docs platform.
Okay, unlimited storage. So I don't have to worry about paying for extra storage for Autodesk docs?
Exactly, that's correct.
I got one more question for you guys. Can I collaborate a bit on an FTP side?
So unfortunately, no. And if you can, we don't recommend it, because Revit collaboration works best for free on a server in-house, or if you're using the paid for collaboration in the cloud, it's best within ACC docs or Autodesk docs and BIM 360 docs as well. They work very well in those environments.
Good.
All right. I think that's mainly all the questions we have for now. So guys, thank you so much for your time again. Kitsola Godfrey, thank you so much for joining me on the session. I know it was a little bit last notice, but you guys are doing so well here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.